Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Matt.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Pop.
I'm Daniel.
I'm the Funkle.
And we're some of the Veggie Boys.
And girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because we can grow a lot of stuff on the farm, but one thing we can't grow is this channel without your help. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. We've got a beautiful day on our hands. The past few days have been really beautiful on the farm. We've had some really warm weather, which has been great to work in. On top of the weather being nice, we've gotten a lot accomplished. Here I am in greenhouse number 4. You can see we got almost all the hanger space filled up with baskets. And we've continued to bring some flats down, and we are getting this entire table filled up. Sadly, this beautiful weather isn't going to last. This is basically the last nice day that we have. It's going to be getting much cooler, which I'm not too happy about. I've been enjoying the weather. One big thing this warmer weather has done is it's really pushed that stuff along in the germination greenhouse this morning. And you saw when I was up there, you got those little seedlings popping out of the soil. We just got those seeded the other day, so you can tell that conditions were perfect for germination. So as of this morning, what have we got accomplished? We've got the animals all taken care of. Farm market has been very busy, and we have got some interesting jobs that I think everybody's gonna be happy to see get done. So like with every good job in the greenhouse, it starts off by getting all our trays put together and a lot of prep work. We've got soil in our machine, we've got trays being prepped, and over here you can see that Trey and Daniel, they are filling trays. Hey, Trey's filling trays. The Veggie Funkle is talented. We're filling trays, we're filling 4.5-inch pots, we're filling large hanging baskets. That's because everybody is working on something else. You can see Grammy right here doing some transplanting. Aunt Bonnie is working on the hanging baskets. And as always, there is a lot to do here in the greenhouse, but we are getting started with something very, very special I had already mentioned. And that special thing we're working on is transplanting some tomatoes. We've got a few very, very popular varieties here with us today. I've got a couple over there. They're getting a little on the taller side, and we need to get them out of these open seeded trays. So what we're going to be doing is transplanting a bulk of these tomatoes into different types of pots. And then once those plants are large enough, they will be sold to the local people in our area or anybody that comes to the farm market. So yeah, the big job today is getting tomatoes transplanted. I'm excited about that one. You know, Dad, soon enough we'll be out in the field picking tomatoes. You ever done that before?
Yeah, it won't be long.
Just getting everything moved into position. And the first tomatoes that we're going to be transplanting today are Better Boy tomatoes. So I'm gonna give you guys a little example of how we transplant. You've already saw me go through and do a little bit. But what we do is we just take our plants, we lay them onto our tray. Now this is a neat type of tray. We call it just singles. So these we sell for one singular price. If someone wants more, they can get the packs. We also do packs. But we found these to be very popular for people with smaller gardens. And because there are a lot of people that are just starting out with gardening, these, they sell fast. So we do quite a few of them. So as you can see, I'm just laying what I grabbed down on the tray. And then I'm gonna come through with my little tool here. Call it a dibble. It's just a little stick. I will either poke a hole in the soil and push the tomato down, or I will just go at the base of the roots and I will push it in like that. Now, if you've never done this before, a lot of people are concerned about breaking the roots off. You do kind of get a feel for it after a while. I don't break any of the roots off, but with tomatoes, it's very interesting. You don't have to be too careful because it will grow roots all along here. So as long as this part is in the soil, you are good. So even if you were to snap this off, we've got nothing to worry about. But you can see I just, with light pressure, push the tomato down into the soil, just like that. And in a few weeks, we will have tomato plants that some of our customers are ready to take home. Now, as I mentioned, if you've never done this before, it can be a little daunting. Everybody always worries about breaking the roots, but as long as your soil is nice and fluffy and you're only using light pressure and pushing at the base of the roots there, you should have no problem. Making sure your soil is nice and light and nice and fluffy, that helps out a ton. Probably wouldn't do this into my garden. You know, I definitely would transplant the plants in there. I wouldn't put these in there, but you know, you got to do it in a nice light manner. And this is how we transplant everything that we will end up selling. So all the tomatoes that we end up selling, all the peppers that we end up selling, we do them into these trays. We use these little sticks, and that's basically the method. So with our first variety, we got all our single pots filled up. Now we're gonna be moving on to 6-inch pots. So I guess you could also consider those singles, but the pots are a little more expensive. They're larger and you end up getting a larger tomato. Some people want that instead of these smaller single pots. And then once we finish off with the 6-inch pots, we're gonna be doing the packs. Those are smaller tomatoes. I mean, the plants are just smaller. However, they're gonna grow to the same size as these bigger tomatoes. It just, you get more of them for a cheaper price. You know, you're kind of paying for what size tomato plant you're getting. If you do buy the packs, you're getting more tomato plants. They're just a little bit smaller. But if you buy the tomatoes out of these 6-inch pots, well, your tomatoes are definitely gonna be larger. And with these 6-inch pots, we don't have to change up anything when it comes to transplanting. So we're just gonna come through, drop our plants in. Once these do get a little bit larger with these 6-inch pots, we can trellis them so that they're a little nicer for the customers. But as of right now, that's it. 6-inch tomato pots.
Let's go. Jack.
The only thing that we will really change with these different pots is because they have a different price, we'll have to put a different tag on them. That's the only thing that really changes. They still get the same amount of fertilizer, they get the same amount of sunlight because everything is grown together. It just is sitting in a different pot. So here's what we've got accomplished so far. We've got our singles, we've got our 6-inch pots, and now we're moving on to the 806s of Better Boy. Now you're gonna hear us say 806 a lot. Here it is, there is 6 different cells and there is 8 packs in this tray. You can call them 806s, you can call them 48s, call them packs, whatever they are, they're getting tomatoes put into them. Have you ever transplanted tomatoes before?
One time.
One time? Maybe 1 million times.
Nope, one time. Last year, somebody didn't show up for work.
And then you had to transplant?
I had to transplant. That was my first time.
Wow. I will say about these packs, it's just like transplanting into the other containers that we have. The only difference is you have less room with this particular style of pot or style of tray. So you have to be a little careful while you're putting the plants in there, you don't break them. But it's just like transplant and everything else. We just finished off our first variety. Better Boy is now all taken care of. And this is what we've got. We didn't get too many packs, but that's okay. A lot of people are gonna be picking up the singles and the 6-inch pots. Our next tomato variety is gonna be Goliath, one of the fan favorites. Compared to the Better Boy, these starts feel a little on the stockier side. That makes it a lot easier to transplant them. If you've got long, spindly plants, there's a good chance you could break them, but these short, stocky plants, oh, they are nice and tough. Now that is a gorgeous tray.
Karate chop.
And here we have one of the most important reasons why we're happy to have our tagging machine back, because these are Better Boy tomatoes, these are Goliath tomatoes, but I'm not professional enough to tell you the difference just by looking at them. They just look like tomato plants to me. If you can tell the difference, you're incredible. So what we like to do is right away, as we get these trays filled with plants, we like to get them tagged. So Matthew's gonna be going through and putting the tags on so we have no confusion. Not that we've ever had confusion on the farm, right, Dad?
Never.
Never. There's never been confusion, except for maybe last year when our pickling cucumbers and our regular cucumbers got planted together. That might have been a tagging issue, you know that?
No. That's a planting issue. Total confusion.
Total confusion.
And do I need to do, are we doing carob again this year?
Yeah, we have to see.
All right.
Matt, tell everyone what you're trying to figure out right now.
I am making bench cards for all of our tomato varieties right now, and I'm making them up on the computer. And then as I'm doing this though, I'm trying to remember what varieties of seed we ordered that I have to make things for. I got all the regular ones, but then I was just asking Dad what other heirloom varieties I need to make bench cards for. Because I got the brandy one, I got the Cherokee Purple, I got the Mr. Stripey. We always raise those, but then this year we got some new ones. So he just said pineapple, mortgage lifter. I think we might have Amish paste. I have to double check on that. There's one called carob that we have to make a tag for. So we're kicking into high gear here.
You know, Matt, why don't we just stop all this? Why don't we just plant like 2 or 3 tomato varieties and be done with it?
You got to give the people what they want, Andy, and they don't want 2 tomato varieties.
People want 800 tomato varieties.
I know the people want about 800 tomato varieties, but here on the farm for sales, we do about 30, and then we do a few extra for us out in the field. So, you know, I think 30 varieties, that's crazy enough, you know, for us. Maybe where you are, they like to get even crazier.
It gets pretty crazy around here.
I'm getting a little distracted because you know I'm so excited, but we just got finished with Goliath, and now we're moving on to the early girl tomatoes. You do? You're gonna be a busy guy. Hear that, Dad? Matt's busy. Can you believe that?
Nope.
Tomatoes are one of my favorite things to transplant.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter if you break them.
Yeah, you don't have to be careful.
I like it. You know what I don't like transplanting? Peppers. Yeah, they break all the time. I mean, it's like cool to transplant hot peppers, but because they break so much easier. We're just about finished off with our early girl variety, so I'm gonna walk over and grab us a new tray that we're gonna be able to get started with next. Let's see here. No, let's take this one. This one looks good. For those that are curious, the next couple varieties that are going to be transplanted are Celebrity, Mountain Fresh, and Beefsteak.
Man, I love this pot filling machine. We need 2 pots right there.
Now the interesting thing about all these different varieties, the ones that we had just went through and transplanted and what we're transplanting now, is they're all different day varieties, and the tomatoes grow to a different size. So usually your earlier day varieties, so earlier to maturity, those tomatoes are a little on the smaller side. But your tomatoes that are going to take a few extra days to get mature, it means you're going to get fruit later, but usually the size of the fruit is going to be much larger. That's why we do so many different varieties, because so many people want different things. And interestingly enough, due to elevation, there are places locally where you can't grow some tomatoes because it takes too long to get them. So that's why we do such a big variety, to make sure that everyone in our local area, whether you're at the highest elevation or the lowest elevation, can get the tomatoes that you need. It can seem kind of like a silly problem to have elevation, but when you live in an area with big differences in elevation, it can really affect you. That's another thing, like when it goes back to like planting corn or cabbage, all those factors go in. What your soil's like, you know, elevation, those are things that we focus on. And because we focused on that, it's allowed us to grow really, really nice crops. And it's also allowed the people in our area to grow really, really nice crops. Whew. Stuck to me. Another update for you. We just got finished off with the celebrity tomatoes, and Daniel had a crazy idea this year. Daniel, what's your crazy idea?
We're growing massive tomatoes.
Massive tomatoes. Into what pots?
Into these pots.
Into these pots. We've never done this before. We've done like large tomatoes just for ourselves, and customers always ask for them. But this year, Daniel wants to do it specifically for the customers. So he's got these large pots, and we're gonna be putting 1 tomato in the center. And that's what the people want. A big, big trellis tomato plant, pretty much pre-started for them. So they've been working on that. Dad and I, we've just been moving along transplanting, and Matthew has been tagging. Now all the stuff that we're transplanting, we're not gonna be allowed to keep it in here. The girls told us no. Apparently they need room for flowers, right? We'll let them have it. But we're taking everything that we transplanted, we're bringing it out to the wagon, and it's gonna be going down over the hill. Quite the process, but it's all worth it. The sooner we get these tomatoes transplanted, the sooner they're out of our way. Kind of on the shorter side. Well, that's I'm really shocked with how much progress we've made today. We've got a lot of stuff done over here. The girls have been working just as hard over here, and it's been amazing the customers to see how fast things have been changing. I mean, just think about it. A couple days ago it was cold, the wind was blowing. Today it's in the 60s and sunny. Now sadly the weather's not gonna stay like this. That cold front is moving back down on top of us, and the temperature, it's not gonna be ideal for growing. And that's why a lot of people have been asking us, don't you think it's a little too early to get started with this stuff? And in a sense, we do believe it's a little on the early side, but we have a lot of visitors that come from other states and from warmer parts of the state that want plants. They want to get plants from us. So we're trying to accommodate those people and the people in our local area that just want to get started early. So yes, I will say it is a little bit early for a lot of these plants. However, it's only gonna pay off for the local people in the area. For a lot of greenhouses, what they'll do is they will continuously just get shipments in of different type of stuff. We don't do that. A lot of people in the local area don't do that. And the thing is, once we go through a product, we're done. So by doing this, we're trying to make sure that everybody that comes a little later on, they can get everything that they need and they don't miss out. So is it too early for us to be doing this? Well, maybe for us here in the local area, but it's not too early for some other people. Right, Dad? We try and accommodate.
We try.
All the plants have been moved down into greenhouse number 4. We just gave them a good drink of water. It's important after you transplant to make sure that you give them a good drink. It allows the roots to be held in place, make sure that our plants can firm up. Yeah, we're all finished with this now, and it is time for lunch. Alrighty. Ooh, looks like we're having kibasi, and now we got some peppers and onions to go on there with mac and cheese.
So we just finished off planting all the tomatoes and stuff that we were taking over the hill. Now we're moving on to taking out hanging baskets. Petey is working on osmocoating them, and then we're taking them outside, putting them on the wagon, and taking them down over the hill. So we already have a wagon load, so we got to take those down over the hill yet.
Andrew stole my sunglasses. Andrew took my sunglasses home. So I don't have sunglasses.
We are now down at the red barn getting straw, and I'm watching Petey work. No, I'm just kidding. I'm stacking them on the truck. He's getting around. I'm just filming, so if an avalanche happens for, you know, yep.
There we go.
You just gotta blame that on the guy that stacked it too well.
All right, who stacked it?
Probably Andrew. $12 more.
That was off the truck too.
That one's far off the truck. You need 10 more, Petey.
9, 8, 5, 3, 2.
Hey everybody, we did have a special day on the farm. I am now home. Lauren has been working on dinner. She made Swedish meatballs. And Callie wanted to show you something, her new haircut. Show them, Callie. Wow, show them the, what is it, bangs? Bangs? Show them the bangs. Wow, I forgot the name. They look so pretty.
Thank you.
And while we're getting ready for dinner, you can see what the babies are having. Mashed potatoes, cucumbers, they got a little bit of beef there. They got some fresh veg. And we've got our good friend Kira. She's holding Lily. Hi, Lily. Yeah. Hi, baby. Yeah, Dada. And then who do we got down here? Mr. Ronnie. Mr. Ronnie, who has been taking steps and just hit his face. Nice. Run, 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 run. It is now at the point though where we are going to be ending the video for today. I would like to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.